Now I'm going to quickly remove one by one all the bearings from the upper crankcase, put them on because I have to put first the crankshaft up there with the con rods, of course. Before I do that, I have to remove these. So I remember on my diagram that I had from left to right green, green, brown, yellow, yellow. So I have yellow, yellow, brown, green, green. And upper lower bearings are exactly the same code. So let's do that. Start removing yellow, yellow, brown, green, green. There's a bit of parts cleaner, so we won't leave any deposits there. And put a yellow, which this is the code for those who want to know. I mark them as crank yellow. Now try as much as you can not to touch this surface on the inside. And the yellow color, which is not much yellow but golden, here. One thing you need to check before you put everything in, make sure the holes are all the same and existed. Of course that wouldn't happen here, but I've seen people put aftermarket bearings and they don't have all the holes, and that's not a good sign. That's there. Yellow, right? The yellow says here 40, the brown says 20. And now we have the two greens, number 30 for greens. Green. That's done. Cylinder number 4 for piston. Now, one thing you need to remember is those tips here, they have to come one opposite the other, like that. That's what you have to remember. And the code for green is this. Ends up in 30. Everything else will be the same, but this number will change depending the color. Upper, lower, it doesn't matter, they're all the same. If there were any holes in here providing roll, there should be a hole in here as well, but there's none. Put it in the groove, flash it, and push it downwards. Put it in the groove, make it flash as possible as you can, and flash it with your fingers. Don't worry, once you put these two together and you torque it in the correct specification, they will come to flashing point, because they can't move that way and the other that way, so you won't have any problem. This one, YO, towards the left hand side of the engine. Lubricate the whole surface, don't leave anything. This side, and remember, these two pins, they have to be on the same side and of course opposite. So you'll go like this. Put one bolt. So what's happening now? You have to first torque all the con rods at 8 Newton meters, and then you have to torque the final torque at 42 Newton meters, 4.2 kilos. And let's do it now together. Yep. To remove that one. To remove the jet. Unfortunately, the camera has switched off and I couldn't film this, so I put the starter clutch kit in. It's all good, done. I secured the 3 bolts here on this side, if you remember. And now we have to put, this is the important part I wanted to show you, that oil jet, which spreads oil over the chains and the starter clutch. There's oil coming through here and sprang everything through this hole. And there is only one spot to put it. See that pin? Goes like that. You can always push, align the sprocket, of course. That's the way it goes in. Now let's prepare the lower crankcase. There is no other way to put this on, just that little pin goes on that little pocket in there. And as you can see, all these holes, they have one hole here. Done. Now what we need is to drop a few drops of oil. Let's place this O-ring here, which is that's the code for it. And now it's time to put Yamaha bond on the crankcases. This is made by Yamaha specifically for crankcases. No need to put here or here, because this bolt, even though it leaks through the bolt, which it will end up inside the sump. But here you have to put, because this one ends up outside of the engine, and if it leaks, well, let's say it's not a good thing, like that and that. Yep. It's just a gap for the screwdriver to go in and separate the crankcases. Yeah, because that's where it's flush, right here. Beauty. I'm going to show you the sequence of the torque, but you have to, there is a little thing that I want to show you. If you pay close attention, I'm hand bolting each one of the bolts in there, so I won't have to do it, oh, well, except this one, which I'll do in a minute. If you have a closer look in there, you'll see there's a mark next to the, there's a number next to the bolt. 1. That means that's the first bolt you have to tighten up. And then, of course, you have number 2, which is this one. And then you have number 3, which is this one. 4 down there, can you see? That's the 4th bolt. This gives you the sequence in which you have to torque every single bolt down there. Then you have 5, and then 6, and then of course you go on the outside to have 7, 8, 9, 10. It gives you the cross pattern. Then you go 11, 12, but we'll go with that together. And then of course you have thinner bolts, and the thicker bolts, which is 9 millimeters, that you have to torque them with 32 Newton meters. The 8 millimeter on the thread bolts, you have to torque with 24 Newton meters, and the smallest one, which is I think 6 millimeters on the thread, you have to torque them down with 12 Newton meters. But the sequence has to be that, so you have to change your torque specifications in your torque wrench tool every now and then. And learn from my mistakes. Out of these 6 bolts here, which are the longest, there is one that's the longest out of all. Every other 5 of them, they have the same size, but one of them, which is in position number 1, it's the longest. That's where it goes. So, as I said, number 1. Let's start with number 1. That's 32 Newton meters. Number 2. 3, 4, 5, 'Nice and slow. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. This is 17, but this is a 6 millimeter, so I have to go on 12, 18, 19 here, and 19 is 24 Newton meters. That's 20. Alright, as you probably can see, which is upside down because I wanted you to have a better camera angle, that's 22. We continue from that, 23. Now the manual mentions 21 somewhere here in the center, but that's not the case. I'm not sure why is that. I'm not sure if I'm looking on the correct diagram. After a bit of confusion, I finally realized what the problem was. It seems that Haynes manuals don't have the correct diagram. These might be from the older models. Fortunately, I had the YZF750R manuals, and they have exactly that diagram for the lower crankcase, and it seems to fit my FZR. Can you see where number 25 is? Just below number 8. So you do all 20 bolts underneath on the lower crankcase, then you go on the upper crankcase, and at some point you come back to go to number 25, and you continue all numbers to the end. Let's see the upper crankcase as well. And this is the upper crankcase. Now, can you see the first top ones, that they are 21 and 22? On the FZR1000 manual gets you confused because you have another one in the middle of those two, but that's not the case. At least models 95, they do have exactly what you see right here. So and then you have number 23 and 24 just below, and then you go on the lower crankcase, you do number 25 I showed you before, and then you continue all these bolts up to number 35. Well, the orbital models have 36 because of that one in the middle of the crankshaft alignment. So that's the correct diagram. Which is 32 Newton meters for this one. And everything is bolted, torqued on the correct specifications, 32, 24 and 12 Newton meters. Now the next step is to put the oil pump in there, and of course the oil passages, the pipes. And this is the gasket. This is the code for the gasket right here. One thing for the correct position of the oil pump you have to remember. You see that arrow? Yeah. That has to align with that arrow here. Right there. So it has to go that way. Put the bolts, put the new gasket with slight oil around it. Make sure the pin dowel is in there, which it is in my case. And then put the oil pump in there by aligning those two arrows. It's not difficult, it can go in 3 different ways, one of which is the right, so you can't miss it. It's not like timing a camshaft. This oil return pipe that transfers oil from the clutch area into the oil sump. You push and then pass that circlip in that groove over there, and it's done, something like that. And now we're gonna put that retainer plate there. In my experience, I would say that we have to put a bit of Loctite in there, but a very mild one. And the very mild one is the 222, which is purple. That's done. Next step is to put the oil passages and the oil crimp here. So first I'm going to replace all these O-rings. I'll replace them with original Yamahas. Those two, that's the code for those two. And that's the code for these 3. Okay, so we'll remove these 3 old ones, which there's nothing wrong with them. We'll put the new ones. And this is the first pipe you need to put, because the other one has to go on top. But the first thing I have to remove is that one here, which is a 24 Newton meter. Oh, sorry, that's a 12 Newton meter. Should be very easy to come off, and it does. Now make sure all of them are in place. And the next one. Do not tighten this one, because we're gonna have to put this one as well. So the old ones going out, we'll put the new ones in. I remember these are 10 Newton meters, and that, and this one is 12. I'll replace that O-ring here. That code. The new O-ring in place. And as we twist. Next and last, for underneath the engine, we have to put the oil sump. And of course, in the middle of that, we have to put a brand new gasket, which that is the code right there. Those who want to order a gasket. Alrighty, the pin dowels are in place. And one thing I know about gaskets is that you don't put them in there dry. And these gaskets and the surface is absolutely clean, so we have to put just a bit of grease, a very very slight film of grease where the gasket touches both sides, so it won't get stuck on the surface and will come off easily for the next time. And once we do that, this one goes in here to hold that bracket in place. Newton-meters. This one goes first. And now we're gonna put this one, which is the crankshaft sensor. We're gonna put it back on, but we'll have to replace that O-ring here. Let's do that. Now I'll put some oil in here. Yeah, not so good, so I ordered a new one. And that's the one, that's the code for those who interested to order it, to make it easier for you. And these two, they go in there. There's no other way around. That or that, doesn't really matter. So that is to be torqued at 50 Newton meters, but I have to hold it with something here. That is 50 Newton meters. Now all we have to do, see which one it matches. This one matches better. Flip it up there and secure that nut and put the rest of it in there. And now we're gonna replace the seal, and this is the code. Oil the surface a bit in there as well, and we just can push it into place with not much of a drama. I can feel it with my fingers that it's stopped, sit in place, and you can put the rod in there as well. This rod is the one that pushes the clutch plates every time you press the clutch. That's the rod. The next step is to put the push rod in there, but before I do that, I'll replace that O-ring. That one right here, that little O-ring. And this is the code. We'll put that on, and then we'll put the needle bearing on top of that. We'll push everything back in there. One thing before we put that, it's the ball bearing, which is that. That has to go in there. Push it, and then this goes in. And then of course the needle bearing. Time to put the clutch discs, the new ones, and here we have the pressure plates. Now, pressure plates, one small detail that I've noticed after a friend's video that he put me in thoughts and start looking for more things, and I'll come into that shortly. This detail, I think all of them, they have a few marks. Make sure you align these marks all together so they can all fit together. Bring them close and make sure they align in every mark. Well, of course now they won't align perfectly because they're out of line just a little, but definitely align. Make sure all the dots in every side, I think it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all aligned. I think that helps with the balance of the clutch. Brand new EBC discs. That's the code for the FZR1000 if anyone wants to order. Of course we have to put a bit of oil, otherwise it'll go dry in the first few rotations and we will damage the whole thing. Just make sure you lubricate the whole surface, otherwise, as I said before, your clutch is going to go dry and it's going to mess everything. Let's align them with that mark, and that mark, it's something that I had no idea until somebody told me. I'll come to that later. So make sure this one, the mark goes, for example, right next to that. There's our mark. It goes on top of that actually. The mark is here. Don't forget the washer. Now, a small detail that I forgot to film, it's a shame, is this one. Make sure when you put the last friction plate, you put that notched part, there's only one side that has that notch over there, you put it in between those two marks, right there, on the clutch hub. This is a small detail. Now, what I didn't know at all, even though I've many times opened an engine like this, it was that small detail. See that mark over here? There is a mark here, and you have to align that. So it's not that hard as far as you know that detail, and when you have that with that, then you're all good to go. So you can't put it like that, it's out of alignment. Why? I don't know, probably because it plays a vital role on the balancing of the whole clutch assembly. I guess, I'm not sure, but you have to align that. And at that point I have to thank Dean Allen from UK that I watched his videos, and that's when I saw that detail. I had no idea what numbers of service manuals failed to teach me all these years. Dean Allen, with a simple video of his, he made it aware. I was totally oblivious. So thank you for that, Dean. This is his website. He has really nice videos over there, very explanatory, and he's quite helpful. Well, he was to me. Go over there and check his website. Sorry, his YouTube channel. I mean, it's really worth it. I found it very useful. Again, thank you for that, Dean. Really appreciate it. Thanks. And the next thing, I'm gonna put some EBC clutch springs because the old ones were quite quick, and you can feel the pressure as well. It's gone. That's the code for the FZR1000 if anyone wants to order EBC. I'll show you the Yamaha code as well if you want to order, because I've ordered brand new Yamahas, and that's heavy duty ones. Whoever wants to order the Yamaha ones, this is the code. Next thing, we have to put, of course, the clutch cover. These being torqued at 10 Newton meters, and I know it's just a little, but don't worry. The spring force pushing them outwards, it's not going to let them go anywhere. So we have to put the clutch cover, and of course we need to put a brand new gasket. That's the code if you want to order one. Apply some grease on both sides. Again, this is how it fits. Perfect. And we put some grease on top of both sides of our gasket. Now, one small detail is down here. Let me show you. That little thing. That pipe that takes all the oil from the clutch cover and drops it into the oil pan. Make sure that hole goes in there. So that hole has to go in there. You can see everything's set on the dowels. Two of them, but they are the longer ones. All the others are the same. The longer ones go on the longest, which is here. These two. Then Newton meters, and let's start. Let's start from the shorter distance. Okay, let me stop the video right here because it's half an hour, the biggest I've ever done. Enough, I bored you with this. Thank you for watching it. Hope you're all well, stay safe. Like the video or not, tell me what you think, and I'll see you in my next video. Again, thanks for watching. See ya.